You know how the story originally broke? The Packers podcaster named Big B.
Shut up, Big B.
Jamal Williams is inside the 30, out in front, a Green Bay touchdown.
Jamal Williams is the GOAT, the GOAT. That's all you need to know.
Okay, let's keep it under 25 minutes, all right?
We might be too young to have a spotted cow, but we are both diehard Packers fans. Hello and welcome back into the Underage Packers podcast. This is episode 140. It's 147. We appreciate you tuning in to this episode here today. Today we will be looking into the Packers Week 10 matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers, coming off a thrilling win last weekend against the Los Angeles Rams, 20-3. They shut down Brett Rypien, and now Brett Rypien has lost his job. The Packers were going on a streak, quite frankly, where they were keeping people's jobs alive. Desmond Ridder was able to survive one more week because he had a really good game against the Packers early on in the season. There's a few other coaches that probably would have been fired if they didn't beat the Packers. But now this time, Joe Barry cooked, and he shut down Brett Rypien, and now the Rams have Carson Wentz. So things are looking better in Packerland. So there's at least that. Anyways, though, I'm Joey. We appreciate you tuning in, like I said. And joining me, as always, to preview this Packers-Steelers game is my buddy, Big B. How are we doing, my friend?
This is the first week that I have not had depression in like a month. So, yeehaw. Packers saved my week. So that's fun.
You never fail to show off just how much the Packers dictate your life. And
they do.
I can't blame you for it one bit. So
yeah, they completely control my life. Like, seriously, they do. Completely control it.
At least you admit that there is that. That is good.
It's a big problem, but I love it.
It is unhealthy, but it's also an amazing time. It only, the thing about that is too, when we win the Super Bowl one day, when the Packers win the Super Bowl one day, it's going to feel all the more rewarding as if you played a part in it. And I mean, you are a team owner, so there is that too. So Packers come into this game against Pittsburgh as 3-point underdogs, surprisingly. Pittsburgh, they are the Packers' inverse record. They are 5-3. But as we are going to find out as we explore the stats later in this video, numbers don't lie. The Steelers, I'm really mystified on how they are a 5-3 team. Okay, they have not won a single game by more than one possession. They are averaging 16.6 points per game, and they have a negative 30-point differential. I'm confused on how that happened.
Yes. So clearly, either the Packers are going to blow them out, or it's going to be a very close game.
Yeah, I mean, they have just been finding ways to do it. They had a gritty win against Tennessee last weekend. They've beat a solid Browns team. They beat the Baltimore Ravens, who are one of the top teams in the AFC too. So those division matchups can always be toss-ups, but there is that. They have beat both Browns and the Ravens, the Big Ten of the NFL, or at least the Steelers have always been a very Big Ten-ish team, and they are very much like the Iowa Hawkeyes of the season, of just terrible offenses to watch, painful offenses to watch. You want to scoop your eyes out after watching these offenses. And it's a miracle every way they find a way to stumble into the end zone. And also, too, I feel like the Steelers are beginning to embrace this Iowa comparison because the jerseys were already pretty similar to Iowa's. And now this week, for some reason, they are doing a special thing with their numbers where they are block numbers. And those of you who are nerds about uniforms know exactly what I'm talking about. So they are going to look even more like Iowa this weekend. So there's that apt jersey comparison. For the Packers, so let's talk a little bit more about this performance against the Rams. It's nothing that is going to completely turn the Packers season around. However, it does feel like it was as much as a low stakes season this is. I mean, there are some people where their job is on the line, But there's not many must-win games because the Packers are not expected to contend for the playoffs. But I do feel like this game against the Rams was almost a must-win game. You lose that game against the Rams without Matthew Stafford, and there are some serious conversations going around about whether or not Matt LaFleur should be fired at the end of the season, along with Ryan Gutekunst. And those conversations might still come up, but you go through the skid of loss against the Raiders, loss against the Broncos, looking miserable against Minnesota. Like that's not acceptable. Especially, we go into this stretch here now. The Steelers are not, the toughest opponent, as we talked about a little bit. But after that, I mean, this month, these last few weeks of November heading into December, it's a rough stretch. So next weekend, they will have the Chargers. Big B will be in town for that one. Then they go to Detroit on Thanksgiving before hosting the Kansas City Taylor Swifts on December 3rd. So it would have been rough. I mean, we could have been looking at, if they didn't win that game against the Rams, we could have been looking at Raiders 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Very well could have been an 8-game losing streak in Green Bay. So, like I said, I feel like that game against the Rams was as close as most win two can get. You've had plenty of gimmies throughout this season, not only because you faced bad teams like the Broncos and the Raiders, but also because in those games they were like handing the win to you on a silver platter, but you refused to take it. So the sky would have been dark over 1265 if they did not come away with that win. But anyways, it's nothing to necessarily celebrate, get all too excited about. Packers' hopes for anything this season are still rather bleak. However, we did finally start to see some growth from this team, not only from their past performances, but also just throughout the game. They made adjustments and they got better as the game went on, which has just been, and I guess, that has been the case in the games past where they suddenly just turn it on in the fourth quarter. But you could see, like, even in this game, I mean, they scored a touchdown in the first half for the first time in forever. So anyways, like, they've had their struggles in the first half, but in this game, like, it wasn't like it was all of a sudden turned on the second half. They slowly, by the end of the second quarter, were starting to find a rhythm. Aaron Jones scooted one in the second quarter. So that was a good reason to have optimism. And then just a lot of these young players we finally started to see flashes from, started to see guys like Carrington Valentine, Lucas Van Ness, the two defensive ends, Carl Brooks and Colby Wooden, have really good games. Was really impressed with the both of them. Not only just, I would say Brooks specifically with not only his power at the line, but also his intelligence, his patience as a rookie was something that you typically don't see out of players as young as him. So I was very happy with their performances. As far as Jordan Love goes, I thought he had a solid day. Nothing that makes you say for certain he is the guy, but same way, vice versa. There's no indicting evidence on him either from this Rams game. So that's my thoughts. Big B, what did you think watching this game?
Yeah, well, Joe Barry has had his little masterclass looking game. Jordan Love, future Hall of Famer. Colby Wooden is my new favorite Packer now that Rasul Douglas is gone. Just throwing that out there.
That's big news. That's not something you just throw out there.
That is big news. Yeah. Anthony Johnson Jr. played great. Carrington Valentine played great. Pretty much every rookie from this past draft class played amazing. Isaiah McDuffie balled out. That man. Isaiah McDuffie, that man, he is like an underdog. He is the underdog story. Like,
he looks like the underdog.
Yes, he got that beautiful bald head, like just coming out of nowhere. Like props to Isaiah McDuffie, man. Props to that man. Sean Ryan also balled out. Like just lot of great performances. Sean Ryan should be starting, by the way. I want John Runyon to go on the bench, put Sean Ryan in there, see how he does for at least this week, and kumbaya,
Yeah, a lot of things to dissect there. I guess I'll go in backwards order. For Sean Ryan, yeah, I really liked his performance as well. It was unfortunate, it was just one drive. I'm guessing the Packers had they wanted to discipline John Runyon for being offsides on a 4th and 1, but then they look back at it and it's like, oh shoot, that doesn't make sense. That's not John's fault. The refs are just being dumb and calling rules that don't exist. But yeah, and the one drive that Sean Ryan played.
Elton Jenkins also at the final drive of the game or something.
Yes, yeah, I believe you're correct there. And very limited playing sample, but he looked good in that limited playing sample for Sean Ryan.
Bro, we've heard a lot about him. Wall out there, baby. Oh, let's go. Okay.
I mean, with his hair, it would be hard not to be.
Yes.
And then also Isaiah McDuffie. Yeah, I mean, he definitely is the ultimate underdog. He is a 6th, 7th round draft pick out of Boston College. Haven't seen much from him out of his his 3rd year now. I mean, we had the nickname the duffel bag for him at one point.
Still nickname, by the way. I don't know what you're talking about. That thing never left. He was neat.
Yeah, it will catch on eventually, I'm sure. But yeah, definitely the underdogs of underdogs. And with Quay, who has that groin injury still, McDuffie might be getting some more chances this week. And I'm so glad that we are dealing with him as our linebacker 3 instead of the likes of Ty Summers and some other really bad inside linebackers and Packers.
Antonio Morrison, Jake Ryan.
Whoa, I mean, we can't bring up the name Antonio Morrison without talking about the ultimate a move by Brian Gutekunst to trade. I don't even remember. It might have been I was going to say to Marius Randall, but he was traded to the Seahawks. Whoever it was that was traded in that trade for Antonio Morrison with the Colts. The trade happened in the preseason, and then the defensive back we traded to the Colts didn't even make the roster, but Antonio Morrison started for us all year. He wasn't great. He wasn't good.
Was it Gunter?
It was Ladarius Gunter.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, so ultimate move there. That might have still been under Ted Thompson. I believe it was. But good move there. Actually,
yes.
Okay, we'll move on from Antonio Morrison. I want to bring up another. We can only talk about Antonio Morrison so much in the year of our Lord 2023. Only other thing to comment on that you brought up, was it Brooks or Wooden that you said he was your favorite player?
Colby.
Okay. Colby Wooden, yeah. Interesting that he's your favorite player. Is it just because you met him at training camp?
No, he's just really funny, man. He is hysterical.
Okay.
I love that man. He's just so funny. And if you're very funny, I automatically love you. That's just how it works. I even told him that at training camp this year. I told him I loved him. I seriously did. And he just started laughing. So, we're best buddies. We're great friends.
Oh, that is amazing. I cannot imagine going up to Colby Wooden, a man as big as him, and telling him that you love him. That is amazing to learn. But I love him too. And also, other than him on the defense line, it was a very good day for the front 7 up there. TJ Sladen is starting to come on, which I am a big fan of. He had one play against the Rams where it was a screenplay. He started on the line and then he chased down the wide receiver all the way to the other side and played at least a little bit in the tackle. So I like TJ Sladen. I like he has my stamp of approval in his 3rd year now. Good for him. Other things from this game we learned, like you mentioned, Big B, Joe Barry masterclass, Joe Barry legacy game. The Packers now have a top 10 defense. As far as yards go, it's deceiving because every team has beat the Packers in the first 2 quarters, and then it's just in run clock mode for the rest of the game. So those numbers are deceiving. Joe Barry's defense is still underperforming. I know we opened up the show basically by saying stats don't lie. The Steelers are bad, but stats are lying here. The eye test will tell you that Joe Barry's defense is underperforming.
Yes, but Joe Barry is going to be the defensive coordinator next year. So
I'm fully aware.
Easily.
Yeah, I expect no different.
Yes, I'm so ready for that discourse this offseason. It's going to be great.
Oh, yeah, I can't wait. All right, on to the Pittsburgh Steelers for this game against Packers. The Steelers are a very similar team to the Packers, I think. A defense that is expected to kind of carry this team, but has been underperforming in some aspects. I mean, they are 31st in yards allowed per game. And then their offense looks like one you'd expect when they have a second-year quarterback. And George Pickens and Najee Harris, where the question mark is still out on them. And then other than that, really just do not have many other offensive weapons. The offense for Pittsburgh is 31st or 28th in yards per game. And like I mentioned, averaging 16.6 point differential of 30. So it's unbelievable. Some other aspects in which the Steelers are similar to the Green Bay Packers is the fact that they both are just suck in the first three quarters of football. The Packers are 32nd in first half points per game. Steelers are 28th. And then in the second half, the Packers are first with 15.5. And then Steelers are middle of the pack in second half points per game. And then Kenny Pickett is also like Jordan Love, where he just needs three quarters to turn it on. His passer rating in the first three quarters is 75, and then in quarter four, it jumps to 108.
Let's go.
It's so funny. A reporter asked Mike Tomlin about this earlier in the week, and Mike kind of just brushed it off, not in a mean or dismissive way, but he was like, "Shoo, he's doing pretty good in that fourth quarter, I would say," which he certainly is, but not ideal to have your quarterback playing bad in the first three quarters and then just like suddenly turn it on. Maybe it's just like I don't know how that happens. I guess just a personality thing where you need to be under pressure.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you're winning, I guess it's fine, but if you're losing, it's not a problem.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the problem for the Packers. They doing too little, too late in the fourth quarter. But Kenny Pickett is turning it on and has led them to 5 wins. So good for him.
Yeah.
Other things on the Steelers offense, George Pickens, their wide receiver, who many Packers fans wanted to draft a year or two ago. He has been getting a little upset with the situation in Pittsburgh, saying some things on social media. In the past 2 games, he has caught 2 and 1 receptions respectively. So I can definitely see why he's flustered, especially when like the other star receiver for the Steelers is Deontay Johnson. Like that's who's stealing his targets, really. But he is definitely still somebody to watch to be a possible problem in this game.
I mean, that man helped me lose like 4 games in fantasy this year. So not very happy with him. But
okay. You're saying he didn't do enough for your team.
Every time I start the man, he scores like 4 points. And I'm like, come on, like really?
I think your plight is more with Kenny Pickett and Mike Tomlin, to be honest, and Matt Canada.
Yeah.
We are fully getting a matchup between 2 of the worst coordinators in football, Joe Barry versus Matt Canada. Tune in, folks.
Yeah.
Oh God, I can't wait. This is gonna be like some of the worst football ever shown.
I said last week that game was an absolute brutal game to watch, and I can't believe I'm watching this game.
Yeah.
The Steelers game might pass that. Seriously. This is going to be a bad football game. Some bad offensive football is going to be played.
Yeah, I can't think of many worse matchups, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Other things on the Steelers offense, coming off a win against Tennessee, obviously 20-16. Their second year running back, Jalen Warren, he's undrafted free agent this second year in the league. Last week, he really turned it on against Tennessee, 88 yards rushing, and then some contributions in the receiving game as well. So definitely somebody to keep an eye out on for as he's progressing in his career. Other than that, though, Big B, any other thoughts on the Steelers team? Maybe some thoughts on their defense, which certainly does have quite a bit of playmakers.
Yeah. I mean, they got 4 Wisconsin Badgers on that defense, so I mean, it's got to be pretty good. I would assume, because Wisconsin pushes out some great defensive talent, So yeah. Anyway, that's it.
Sure.
Well,
yeah.
Hey, what is that supposed to mean? Badgers don't have a great defense.
No, nothing.
Great defensive
No.
history. Come on now.
No,
One of the best
I'm
defenses in like the last 25 years have come out of Wisconsin.
I
don't even know if that's true or not, but I'm gonna say it.
just like making stuff up,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't need to hear about what was his name, generic guy down there that we wanted to hire, or some fans wanted to hire as defense coordinator.
Jim Leonard, what a guy.
Jim Leonard, of course, the Mike Pettin disciple.
Yeah.
But anyways,
he went to Illinois. I think he's coaching at Illinois now.
I believe you're right in that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What is with Wisconsin coaches going to Illinois to coach Illinois teams?
Is that a thing?
What is that? Really?
Okay.
Come on now, really?
I see what you're saying now.
I'm tired. I'm tired of this, I hate Craig Counsell. That man, Craig Counsell, I hate him so much. He is a traitor. I hope he doesn't win a game this year. I hope the Cubs nothing but the worst amount of luck. I hope that stadium burns to the ground this year.
Wow.
At some point. I don't care. I hope Craig Counsell gets food poisoning before every game.
Whoa.
I want
That's mean.
Okay, I want to go to the Brewers Cubs first game at Miller Park. It's not called Miller Park anymore. That's a long story. Anyway, but Miller Park, I want to boo the shit out of that man.
That was an interesting rant about Craig Counsell. I didn't know he meant that much to you.
Yes, you don't do that. That's just something you don't do.
I think we have Luke Getsy to blame for starting this trend.
Freaking Luke Getsy, man.
Okay. This is off the rails. Are you gonna get into a rant about Luke?
I have no thoughts on. No, I have no thoughts on Luke Getsy. I like him a little bit. But he hasn't done anything personal to me yet. He hasn't helped the Bears beat the Packers. So he's cool. He's cool.
Yeah.
Justin Fields hasn't done anything, so it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it would be a bigger deal if he suddenly got out a lot more of Justin Fields.
Yeah. The moral of that story is Craig Counsell is a traitor, and I hope him nothing but the worst with the Chicago Cubs.
I mean, what was the deal?
Here's the Chicago Cubs. I'm passing the Vikings from my most hated franchise. Cheers.
Wow.
Anyway, continue.
I was gonna ask more questions about that, but I don't want to incite another 10-minute rant about baseball. So okay. Back to this Packers Steelers game for this injury report here.
Oh, we're talking about Packers. Okay, let's get back.
Yes, we are back to the Green Bay Packers, baby. All right. Can't believe this all started because I brought up Jim Leonard here. So Jair Alexander back on the injury report now with a shoulder injury that he suffered after just coming off a back injury. It's unfortunate too because after a rough stretch the last couple of weeks, he finally got things going against Pittsburgh, but he's now back on that injury report. Matt was asked this past week if he has any long-term concerns about Jair's health, and he said, I don't know. So take that for what you will.
Yeah. I mean, it's not the same shoulder here last year, so that's got to be a plus. Or 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Last year, 2 years ago?
No, it was 2 years ago. Yeah, because that was the whole reason they brought Russell Douglas, and he
that is true.
And actually, it's crazy that you bring that up. It was against the Steelers early in the season where he whiffed on a tackle on Najee Harris and ended up tumbling and like breaking his shoulder into the ground. So hopefully there's not a repeat of that. But Jair is listed as doubtful, along with Quay Walker dealing with that groin injury. Then with questionable, we got Kenny Clark, Rudy Ford, Josh Myers. Are they questioning if he's good at football or does he have an injury? Actually, that's a dumb question. They think he's playing the best football of his life.
Correct.
Also questionable, we got with two more offensive linemen in Yash Nyman and John Runyon. For the Steelers, Minkah Fitzpatrick is out. And the most devastating injury of all, Montravius Adams, Packers legend, is going to be missing this game.
I was so looking forward to the Montravius Adams revenge game. I had this game circled on my calendar just to watch Montravius Adams play football.
Oh my god!
Montravius
Adams still being in the league is like the funniest thing ever.
And he's playing good football too.
Yes,
like what?
He's like, it's not a mistake. Like teams are not like trying to sign like, I don't know, like Montravius Adams. Like they are meaning to sign Montravius Adams because he is like, he did good with the Patriots after he was released from the Packers. Like what is going on? He was like one of the Packers' worst third-round draft picks ever. Did nothing with him. I was so mad at Ted when he drafted him instead of a running back early on. But now he's like, he's just like a lunch pail guy for the Steelers. But he is out for this game, so no Montravius Adams revenge game. Oh well,
tragic. Hey, Chandon Sullivan plays on the Steelers too, so that's kind of
shoot.
Yeah,
Chandon Sullivan, man. We are just this is a random Packers episode for the ages. I love this. This is what gets me going. This is good. Yeah, I mean, this is the whole reason we do this, to get like random mentions of these Packers. I love it. I miss Chandon Sullivan. He did good with the Vikings.
Yes.
Okay, moving on now. On to our biggest key, our biggest concern, and our who is going off player of the week. First off, my biggest key is winning the turnover battle. Steelers, with how many close victories they have, turnovers are obviously going to play a big factor in some close games. There are 5-1 in games where they win the turnover battle. Currently have a +8 turnover margin, and last week they intercepted Will Levis. So limiting those turnovers would be ideal. Don't turn the ball over, please. Okay, it's as simple as that. Big B, what is your biggest concern? I see that it's kind of like as simple as mine too.
Yeah, score more points than the Steelers in the first half, and I'm pretty positive we're going to win this game because both of these teams are atrocious in the first half, like we mentioned. So if we don't score more points than the Steelers in the first half, not feeling good about our chances. And plus, it would be nice to score points in the first half for like 2 weeks in a row. That'd be fantastic, in my opinion.
Hopefully that's not too much to ask for. But
it will be, but who cares?
Yeah. Let's be on the flip side of these games where like it's pretty much over by the end of the first half. Like let's be on the flip side of one of those. Just one time, please.
Please.
On to our biggest concerns. For me this week, it is the secondary, not because I'm worried of like the weapons in the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, but because I'm worried of the injuries in there. We're looking at Carrington Valentine and Corey Ballantyne, the two Allentines, possibly being our two starting quarterbacks this week. Like we mentioned, Jair, doubtful, and capital D on that, doubtful. Nixon was nursing an injury. He had an injury that he suffered last week against Rams, but he has been fine this week. So he will be playing, but he has also been inconsistent in the slot. So I'm a little bit worried about that secondary, how they will hold up now. Bigby, I mean, it's almost like it hurts you when you trade away a very good corner. Bigby, what is your concern?
Crazy how things happen like that, eh?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
What do you got for your concern this week?
Anyway, Wisconsin Badger legend TJ Watt. That man is single-handedly winning games for the Steelers. Like, he is on another planet this year. I am scared because this offensive line is still not very good, you know. And TJ Watt is a very, very, very good football player, and you know, Wisconsin Badgers legend. So you know, one of the best in the business already to begin with. So stop TJ Watt, and hopefully we'll win. Hopefully, you know, he doesn't kill Jordan Love in this game. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm more than a little bit worried about TJ Watt going up against Josh Nijman, possibly Rasheed Walker. A little bit concerned about that, but we'll see. But yeah, he does currently have
about Zach Tom. With how good Zach Tom's been this year, I'm still scared. You know, that's how good TJ Watt is.
Yeah, I mean, Watt he has 9.5 sacks on the year. So there's that, dominant as ever. And then finally, our guys who are going off for me this week, I got Dontavian Wicks. Looked really nice against the Rams. It just feels like in every game we've seen him, he just gets I want to see more of him in every single game. And hopefully this week that finally happens. And hopefully him and Jordan are able to connect on a few. Big B, who do you got for going off this weekend?
I got Devontae Wyatt. He has had a very, very, very quietly good year this year. He's been very good up the middle. He's been a bright spot on that defensive line. I think Kenny Clark is dealing with an injury, so I don't know how much he will play this week or if he'll be on a snap count or anything. But you know, let's get Devontae Wyatt going. Let's get him a few sacks. Let's get him a few TFLs. Let's get him an interception. Hell, let's go full BJ Raji and get him an interception. To the house.
Being somebody who covers Mizzou football, I do have a little bit of trauma from defensive tackles from Georgia intercepting footballs, I gotta say. So yeah, but I would be happy for Devontae Wyatt interception. He has, I believe, like the 4th highest pressure rate among defensive tackles. Somewhere in the top 4, which is impressive. So he's been having a quietly good season in the way that Hunter Bradley was allegedly quietly having a good camp. There's a Packers Twitter reference for some OGs out there. So yeah, hopefully we see a good game from Devontae Wyatt and somewhat of a coming out game for him.
Let's go.
All right. That's where we're going to end things off for this weekend's episode of the Underage Packers podcast. We greatly appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you tune in after and next week for our thoughts on the Steelers game, and hopefully Green Bay will move on to 4-5 to keep hopes at a Super Bowl alive. The train is back on, baby. Just hop back on. All right.
We're so back.
We'll talk to you next week. Go Pack, go.